Hello friends, welcome back. Let's take a look at Tezos together again. And of course, just like the start of the Chainlink video, a lot of noise on there. We will be looking at Tezos versus the Bitcoins and Tezos versus the dollar coins in this video, so stay tuned for all of that. Oh, need to drink this. I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is the Rocky Outcrop channel. I like drinking tea. I'm sure we all do. And welcome back for another video. Please hit that like, subscribe button. Let's break down the noise here. I know it's so super invisible and a bit daunting, isn't it? Well, let's just kind of do something about that, shall we? Okay, let's do this. Right, I'm just going to make this full screen for now. Actually, no, I'm going to just accidentally draw on there. So I'm going to make this full screen for now and zoom in a bit, so it kind of clears away the clutter just by having got that out of the way. What have we achieved so far? Well, it's just still equal highs over here on this time frame. Need to see the prices versus Bitcoin manage to push themselves up above the $3 or the 3,000 Satoshi 3,110 area. When we look at Bitcoin and we see that Bitcoin prices have been kind of, okay today and whatnot in this general area. By the way, again, if you watch the Bitcoin videos and you're curious as to how this is shaping out, because I've not mentioned it in a while, I've not been looked at the Bitstamp chart in a wee while here, then there you go. There's a quick look at that for you. Interestingly enough, for people. By the way, please do the Bitcoin video today. Really good, really good. Really recommend watching it. Definitely do. So even if you don't trade Bitcoin. So we've got an equal high here. Let's just check in with our oscillators and see how they're doing. It's slightly lower on the RSI, so we're not done yet though at all. It's lower here in the stochastics. We're not done yet. It's lower on DMI. Again, we're not done yet. But I do want to see this moving up here above 3,100 and something, so that we don't have Class B bearish divergence on the go here. Of course, as well, I want that to go in hand with these oscillators moving towards the upside as well as that. So if we do have to have a breather, then looking at this, I want to see the 21 EMA, the yellow line here, operate as support, or indeed the green 55 EMA, or indeed the what's this, the 382 Fibonacci retracement point here on this one, operate as support. Reasons for that are good ones. For instance, like if you hit like go watch the Chainlink video, actually. Watch the Chainlink video and the Bitcoin video for explanations about what's going on here. Watch the Chainlink video and you'll see how I'm talking about the Fibonacci dynamic there, and I explain it in fairly good detail for you in terms of the movements there if you're interested. And we want to see it remain above the 382 though anyway. Obviously the prices are above the 236, which is good at 3,000. We know 3,000 is a pivot price for us. So first off, if we need to put in a higher low or whatever, make it 3,000. If it has to go down lower, then the 2,900s are there. I don't want to see it going down low again. If it has to, 2,800, whatever. I'm going to be looking towards the Bitcoin prices for that. I feel like you could be a chance that the Bitcoin prices might correct a little bit to the downside, just a little bit, which would give us the impetus to just get above this here, and maybe this sort of the uninspiring oscillators won't be so important by that stage if that's the case. Looking at the left here, you see this Magnolia line here and this Magnolia line here. There's a couple of 50% retrace lines in there. That's not a surprise if the prices did turn around at this area. It wouldn't be too much of a surprise, like Dow Jones said 100 odd years ago. But we're still just kind of waiting. It's the same. The video today is essentially the same as yesterday as well on that front. Looking at the dollar prices, on the other hand, we're outside of this channel. That's good. We're outside of this this rising this equilateral symmetrical triangle here, and that's good. We don't have the measured move obviously coming in off of this yet. Towards the top side, and we would like to see that happen in the fullness of time. $3.10. But what we do have is a retest of the 278, 280 area where we have the downward sloping, the previous downward sloping resistance turn support, in this area. And we can see quite clearly that we're being resisted by this 290 area here. That's all kind of makes sense. We know what's going on here. There's a massive node on the VPVR. Zooming out a bit so you can see some more here. Massive node on the VPVR drops off here. That's because then that works both ways. It's a two-way street. On the one hand, should buying activity, for instance, come in here, it could push it past quickly. But you know, it wasn't just buyers, it wasn't just sellers. There's a lack of participants in the market here. Okay, lack of participants, lack of liquidity. Lack of liquidity can mean, of course, that it shoots past it. It could also mean that it goes up there and then there's nobody, you know, nobody's really thinking about it there. They don't want to put their money where their mouth is, you know. So the bulls don't want to long it quite yet from that $3 area, you know, necessarily, and the bears don't want to necessarily short it there when they could short it higher, etc., etc. We know as well on the Bitcoin price pairing for this that we talked quite a bit about things like cups with handles and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to look at them as well, you can kind of like look and say, is that a top there? Is that a top there? And is this the cup area? You know, you could look at that, for instance, and you could also look at this, like the cup with. I'm not a massive fan of patterns either. What I talk about when I talk about patterns, I say it's an easy way of distilling the psychology in the market down so you can explain it to somebody else, and to sort of draw around it and kind of say, look, you know, this is the parameters, and help yourself manage risk by clearing away some of the fog of war. All that's good with patterns, but I'm not a pattern trader. You know, I don't just wait for a pattern, see it there, go to the confirmation line and just trade it blindly. I'm far too holistic for that. I've got far too much capacity in my brain to just say, okay, look, I'm going to just you know, do one tiny little thing and not think about things. I have to look at more. I have to. I can't trade off the back of just one thing alone. Anyway, just to point out here why I was saying that is, you got a double top there, you've got a basin down here, you know, you've got a potential handle here, and then you've got a move up there as well. It's like, you know, you can find patterns within patterns within patterns within patterns all the time. So let's just, you know, all of that drawn in with this equilateral triangle, symmetrical triangle, all inside of a channel, etc., etc., etc. You know, some people would say perhaps, oh, that guy's just talking crap, you know. He's just talking crap because, like, you can't do the. No, they're the ones talking crap. This is exactly how this works. Little lesson for you there. Patterns within patterns is, of course, how it is. It's why there's, like, you know, songs about it or whatever. I mean, people, like, not about trading, but like patterns. You know, like the world works like that. This is the way the world is. Okay, you know, like I have a Fibonacci spiral on my ear here or whatever, and I'm the pattern of a human being. You know, it's not. I'm neither just a Fibonacci spiral or just a human being. I am the total. Okay, you have to look at the total, in my opinion. But if you do pattern trading, by the way, no offense or anything like that, what you're doing is you're kind of looking at the statistics and saying, well, you know, I'm happy to be wrong, and that's great. And what the biggest hurdle, by the way, for anybody, if you're new and watching this here and you're wondering, the biggest hurdle for people isn't actually. And I was talking about this in the Discord yesterday. Go ahead and join the Discord too. Is somebody came along and they said, "Oh, you're looking at fundamentals. You look at fundamentals, or do you look at technicals? And how do you reconcile the two? I'm kind of new to trading, blah blah blah." And that's because you're trying to like look at how you predict the market. Well, that's not it. The biggest challenge is managing risk. Okay, there's trading has got absolutely nothing to do with predicting the market. It's got everything to do with managing risk. Now, patterns are as easy to look at it as being a sort of a quick sort of a shortcut to predicting the market. It's not. With patterns is all about looking for patterns and looking at the failure, you know, and how you act in a failure and what you would do, and it's about managing risk. It really is. And if you read it and understand what they're talking about, like Bulkowski himself wrote a textbook and an encyclopedia for himself, so he wouldn't have to remember all himself. He didn't challenge himself to remember them all. He would reference his own book to see them, you know. So he does it. So like that's how that works. And then he looks and he reads the whole thing and he looks to, how will I know when I'm wrong here? And that's the question. You're looking to manage risk, and the biggest difficulty thereafter is cutting a loss. Like that's far harder. You know, people, if you're new to trading, you've probably watched a video already that says let your winners run, right? You know, like this type of thing. Like, and some people say, yeah, I don't make enough money in trading because I always take profits too early. You know, people like that are still on their way to waiting to become bust overall anyway, because they're not thinking about it right. They're just not thinking about it right. I mean, yeah, sure, you probably are taking profits too early, probably are, you know, but by the same token, I don't care when you're taking your profits. How are you managing your risk? How are you managing your risk? You know, how is it? And did you take profit too early because you were managing risk to do it? That wasn't too early then. Did you take profit too early because you just thought, screw it and hit the button? Well, you weren't managing your risk really, were you, at that point? Because it was money on the table. that's what trading's all about. So anyway, could we have various different things here? Sure, we could. I've gone off on a diatribe about things. Really, look, it doesn't boil down to anything more difficult than 290. Will we get to $3 and $3.10? Where we go thereafter is going to be just like down the road at those points. Easy to look to sort of 320 area where we have the 236 on this Fibonacci. That's quite an easy point to look to. It's no coincidence though that we also have various levels coming in there, such as this previous high over here. No coincidence at all. No coincidence that the VPVR picks back up there at that point, as well. Various different things. Look out for the divergence on the way. Are we going to have that? Is this ADX going to continue to slink down the way, giving us up the opportunity for a bit more volatility if it comes all the way down here? Are we going to see it turn up and get above 20 so we can have a strength of trend, a confirmation of a strong trend towards the upside? Are we going to see the DMI positive be divergent? Are we going to see as embarrassingly divergent here with this high being higher than this one? Are we going to see them diverge away from each other, with the positive, the blue line diverges away from the DM negative, for instance, and diverge away as or are we going to see them operate in lockstep as we have done for a wee while, or whatever else? Are we going to see something like this? Or are we going to see something like this? Are we going to see something like this? Are we going to whatever? On the way, all these questions need to be asked and answered by yourselves along the way. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, like I say, watch that Bitcoin video because I think there's some really good lessons to be had in there. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Sure, maybe I could have made it all in the space of 3 minutes. Probably could have done. And I keep promising myself that I'll do that because this takes energy to do all this stuff. So I will at some point, make life easy on myself for a wee while and do sort of short videos where it's just out there. But there's so much lessons to be had, And like I say as well, like I want these videos to be kind of like what I would have wanted to have known myself 10 years ago or whatever. Okay, that's everything. Just want to say thanks to everybody as well. Really do massively appreciate it. Thanks so much. You've all been super supportive as I've started this channel, and I really, really genuinely appreciate it. So thanks. So that's genuine. Catch you next time.